and welcome, football fans. We are here and we are live. The Panthers PAW-DCAST coming hot at ya.
You ever made out with a tugboat?
Love it, love it. The most unique intro in all sports podcasts that have ever existed and will ever exist, right? It's one of those superlatives that they say in like advertising, right? They can say like, oh, we're the number one, yada, 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 because it's disprovable, right? Because it's disprovable, and it's just kind of like opinion-based. So, welcome to the number one sports podcast of all time, hands down, period, that is now existing and will ever exist.
Where it's so easy.
Love it. Welcome, Panthers PAW-DCAST. I'm FBI Tugboat, your host, whatever, caster extraordinaire. I do a whole bunch of stuff within esports, I do a whole bunch of stuff within traditional sports, and I obviously create a little content here. Oh, speaking of, also, before we hop into it, I have created the Tugboat Time podcast, which is just me running my yap. Right, just talking a little bit about esports, talking a little bit about my life, talking a little bit about sports, talking a little bit about movies and shows and shit like that I watch and stuff like that. And maybe you'll find it interesting. Most likely you won't, but check it out regardless, right? Let's go ahead and hop on into this one. Another Another off-season podcast coming hot at you, right? It is on the day of filming is March 5th, 2025. This will probably come out tomorrow on the 6th. We got a lot of UFM content. Coming at you guys. If you're excited for the season, we will have content for you. Period. Like you can just tell the people, right? There's ladies involved as well. The people within the UFL are incredibly freaking excited for this for the season upcoming, and the drive to create content therein has. I mean, this is my second year, so I can easily say it has not been higher than it is right now and stuff. UFL, very exciting. Let's hop on into our topics here. Yes, so we got rule changes coming on in here, hot at you guys, and training camp roster. We'll just kind of run through it. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I'll talk a little bit about the QB strike, and you will hear my opinion that no one's ever asked for, right? And then we'll do a little bit on the futures. This will not be a gambling podcast this time, right? Just talk a little bit about like obvious picks, trap picks, the obvious homer pick, and then like sleeper, like best value, right? So, let's hop on into it. Bang. Rule changes first and foremost, right? These have been we'll just talk about the kickoff, right? It has been back and forth. A lot of people really upset about it when it was introduced in the NFL. A lot of people were citing stats and science and stuff like that, which I'm not arguing with, about how it's safer and stuff like this. I think all rational freaking people can agree with is this. First, that it is safer and causes less injuries. That's what science tells us, and you can't argue with the math. Second, that is just not as interesting, plain and simple. When you get like a 90% touchback rate, something like that in the NFL, other stuff like this, rule changes are required. Love to see the UFL being like forthcoming and right on the cutting edge of that. Let's go through these. Continuously striving to deliver a more exciting, fast-paced game on the field, the league is making changes in 3 key areas for the season: kickoffs, coaches challenge, and onside kicks. Spoiler, there's no more onside kicks. I don't really like this as an option. I'm not going to lie to you. Restricting, we'll talk about it then. I'm trying to make a shorter episode here. Talking about the kickoff formations, right? Now on the 30-yard line, after being on the 20-yard line last season, so that's going to make it a little bit easier for kickers to get like right at the 2 or something like that. Logically, it'll also be easier for kickers to kick in the end zone, which will not be ideal, right? There will be 2 touchback spots. 35-yard line for balls kicked in the end zone. So you're basically giving up 15 free yards, and 20-yard line for balls hit in the landing zone, right, the legal area, the 1 to 20-yard line, and then enter the end zone. So if they do not field it, the best you're getting is 20 yards. I am not against that, and especially the change right there. All touchbacks placed at the 25-yard line last season. That's basically like, hey, here's a free 5 yards if we're taking 20 yards as a standard. I like this overall because it is taking a less than perfect situation, which is kickoff returns yield injuries, right? Like, two or more guys running at each other at 15, 20 miles an hour, right? There's nothing about the human body that is healthy or natural for that to happen, right? You can't argue with that. Unless all of this research is just false or whatever. Oh, also, guys, I got a big sty in my eye. Got a big sty in my eye. Still doing a podcast though, right? I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with the term hero. Like, leave that for your firefighters, your children's like cancer doctors and stuff like that. A lot of people have talked about 33-year-old white guys who do podcasts on spring football with size and eyes as being hero. I don't fully agree with that, but that's y'all's opinion. Okay. Talking about the kickoff stuff right here. I overall like it. It is doing well with a kind of crappy situation, which is the unideal situation that is the kickoff return in its current form and what we know about it logically, right? I also like this. Where was it? Where was it? There you go. Ball must reach the landing zone, or obviously the end zone, or it'll be spotted at the 40-yard line, right? Obviously not super new, but this is a mild change from last year that really I feel like kind of goes along with this, with the 25-yard line thing right here. Now let's get on to coaches' challenges. Thank the heavens. Thank Christ above right here, right? What is the point of having a coach's challenge if they can, and it's a super challenge too, right? In case you're unfamiliar with UFL, they can challenge anything on the field, right? Anything, any officiating decision, right? Between obviously like penalties and stuff like that, spot of the ball, and everything in between, right? So before, you would get a single coach's challenge, and you challenge. If you win, obviously you get the advantage of whatever happened, right? And you keep your timeout, but your challenge is gone, right? If you if you have that, why do you allow coaches to only do it once? It's basically like saying, like, hey, unless this is like a touchdown play, right? In the first half, why would you use it? Obviously, you get your timeouts replenished in the second half or whatever else like that. But it's the fact that, like, oh, I can't use this when it's gonna be towards the end of the game if I use it in the first half. So we're getting to now. I really like this. And again, as long as the team has a timeout remaining. Now, if you have two challenges, you're getting down towards the end of the game, will that come into play? I can't see, unless it's like, just atrocious officiating, right? I can't see there being two really big calls, and so generally I feel like coaches are I don't think this is going to increase the amount of challenges in games. I don't think this is going to increase the amount of successful challenges in games. I think this is going to increase the playability of coaches to evaluate good or bad play on the field, and that is bringing in this awesome element that you do not see in the NFL side, right? Some of the most dramatic things, Bill Belichick, Andy Reid pulling out that red flag, throwing it on down there, right? How many memes are there of Bill Belichick doing that? And how restricted is it versus what we're doing in the NFL based on what they can challenge, right? Whatever. I think that just to formulate here, or to summarize here, excuse me, I think the kickoff rules are making the most with a with a not an ideal situation, and the coach's challenge, chef's kiss, fantastic. I believe that's all on the coach's challenge. Yes. The onside kick, yeah, pretty straightforward. This can't have been like a popular option, right? Just eliminating, I get it, the 4th and 12 now. I would have liked a change to a 4th and 15. From your own 25, something like that. It looks like this is gonna be this. Yeah, this is gonna be the same. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Not super against it. Taking the 4th and 12 should be tough, should be difficult, and should be a do or die type situation, right? Is what it is. But that's just one man's opinion. Noteworthy. I don't think any of these have changed. Also, this guy got shit on for trying to. Oh, yeah, minor spelling mistake. We'll click on it. There you go. You know how many times the Sports League have done this? I love this. Stop crying over the letter E and get used to crying over the letter O, because that's all the bottle hacks are gonna do this scene. Ah! Big dog Ducky out here, dude, just dunking on him. Moving on along here. Yes, moving on along to the positions. Yes. And the training camp roster. This will be for all of them. As somebody pointed out, nothing from DC, which I was kind of surprised about. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just announced otherwise. I'm not going to go through all of this. Obviously, there's plenty of names that we kind of knew that were going to be here. This is not all of the names. I will go through that on here. So, Bam, Donix Alexander, BT Potter, kicker, to replace Jake Bates, but unfortunately, Clemson, go Cox. Brian Dooley, tackle out of Eastern Michigan. Chima Corafor. Love it. Benedictine College. That's going to be Cole Cabral playing with us again. Cole Hikotidi. Yes, the tight end GOAT is back. He's a little bit old, but don't tell him I said so because he could beat the shit out of me. Corian Ballard coming out of Utah. DJ Miller Jr., cornerback out of Kent State. Danny Etling. Again, we kind of knew about that one. SEC guy at LSU. Devin Ross got big things done when there was kind of like, I mean, just like any team, right? If you have like one star wide receiver and a team knows that, okay, we'll just cover them, and now their passing game or their receiving game is like mostly done. Devin Ross really came in last year. Another familiar name here, Donovan Muten, Frank Ginda, Defensive Player of the Year last year, not 2 years ago. Yep. Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna go through all these. I'll just say it. Garrett Marino, Gavin Holmes, Gimon Green, Gunnar Oaks, that's a familiar name. J.D. Duplain, Jaden Sheridan, Jake Burton, Jalen Windemeyer, the other tight end action here. James Walker, Javen White, Jalen Moore, John Hightower, Jordan Ober, Kai Nakua, Kedrick Whitehead Jr., Keith Russell, Kenny H. Lovely, Kenny Wilkes, I believe that's Wilkes. I believe I know that name. Keontae Shad, Keontae Harden, Levi Bell, Levante Taylor, Malik Turner, Marcus Sims, Matthew Colburn. That's the second. Man's got a kid. Matthew Colburn, Nate McCreary, Noah Dawkins, Noah Johnson, Raylan Goforth, Ron Stone Jr., Rondell Carter, Ryan Nelson, Samson Nakua, AOC Mariner, Simon Larea, TJ Carter, Toa Tua, Walter Palmore, the big man, Walter Palmore, and Xavier Malone. Why they did this in alphabetical order with their first names, I don't know. Also, as you will see here, in case you're just like really like Rain Man good at counting, we will be going through this, and this is 59 players. Obviously, that is not the maximum to the amount of players that can be on a training camp roster. Well, here you go, right here. Daniel Wise, Jarrett Horst. Somebody else. Where was it? The UFM clarified like there was like. What was his name? Hall or something like that. The running back for San Antonio was listed on here for like the bot communications, right? As suspended, but all that really means is that they didn't show up to training camp that day for whatever reason, right? Not going to speculate why that reason was. Yes, maybe they said, "Oh, screw this, I'm never playing football again." Highly doubt that, right? Anyway, so this termination doesn't mean that like they're in trouble or anything else like that. And given that this training camp roster, it doesn't mean that neither Daniel Wise nor Jarrett Horst will not be playing for the Michigan Panthers or any other team. It's just that it's not figured out right now, right? Let's go ahead and go. I already did that. Bam. Let's go ahead and go through it. Just as we go through this, keep in mind that there were questions, right? So last year, what we saw was hurt quarterbacks, hurt running backs, and an offensive line that sometimes, depending on the quarterback that's behind them, obviously 4 different across 10 games, just wasn't getting a whole lot of protection from, and then that quarterback either had to scramble and throw it away, so other things like this, or depending on the quarterback, was able to scramble, run, and consistently have that dual threat capability, right? So those are the three issues, and I just say issues of quarterback because there was injuries. Running back, the star one. Obviously we saw Matthew Colburn, Nate McCreary go back and forth right there. Then we have mobile quarterbacks. It's kind of like more of a shakeup right there. What is their like full undefined role? Well, I think this year we will see more of like a primary role, and then like the third down change of pace kind of back, right? Offensive line. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So that was the questions last year. Questions this year, obviously, who's going to be the quarterback starter, right? There's a lot more. I mean, we can go through. Come on. There you go. We can go through here across these 3. Obviously, one of these we don't know, right? Rocky Lombardi out of Northern Illinois was not playing with us last year. Danny Etling was able to sling the rock, definitely had some legs, but it was Bryce Perkins. It was way more so the mobile running quarterback, especially towards the end of the season right there. That is a quarterback question I don't want to answer, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, Danny Etling at 30 might be just statistically right there. That's the massive difference. And Bryce Perkins just ran a little bit better. And honestly, I love mobile quarterbacks. What can I say? You know what I'm saying? Never gonna go wrong. The other question is the running back starter, obviously, and then tight end. We only have 2 tight ends on this entire roster, right? That's definitely a question that needs to be answered. Let's go ahead and go through the positions. Here at center, we have Cole Cabral, Noah Johnson, J.D. Duplain. Cole Cabral, I don't believe, was listed on was listed on the other ones. Obviously, played in a little UFL action before, and I believe, played with the Cowboys. That's right. Obviously, that was preseason or training camp stuff. I do not believe Cole Cabral took any snaps within the league. Excited for newcomer J.D. Duplain as well. Michigan State has a tendency of having good offensive and defensive line products, right? Just general offensive line listed as Jacob Burton. Here's the quarterback question: Danny Etling, Rocky Lombardi, Bryce Perkins. I've already talked about this a little bit, but I think it was evident. You know what? I mean, we can actually go to this. We can look at stats, right? Yeah. So as you can see here, wait, hang on. Is this from 2020? No, it's not UFL. Okay. Um, the fact that he was able to do that, 16th in the lead, 180 rushing yards, I believe in 3 games, maybe 4 before he got taken down. 2 for 1 is not. I mean, that's nothing to write home about. Danny Etling, love the guy. Don't get me wrong. 143 in a lot more games. There's just a statistical difference there, and I really do feel like this is going to be the year of the mobile quarterback here within the UFL. The time of the, I mean, I just think that very quickly we're going to see the same shift that we saw within the top leagues and obviously, some effect within college from years past into now. Gone is the time of the, Statue of Liberty Tom Brady's, the Danny Edlings within this situation. Here is the times of the Lamar Jacksons, the Patrick Mahomeses, and the God damn it, why am I Jake Allen? No, the Buffalo Bills quarterback, whose last name is Allen. I can't remember his name. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Mobile quarterbacks is what I'm trying to say. Men who can sling the rock, get it out there, and then evaluate when it's just time to take off, right? Running backs: Jaden Sheridan, New, Toa Tua, Nate McCreary, Matty Colburn, all back. This is one of those situations where it's a good problem to have, right? Toa Tua was really, really excited for various times. Nate McCreary did catch some balls as well. Matthew Colburn was mostly boots on the ground right there. But it is a question that needs to be solved. And looking at those names, I'm not upset about it at all. There's obviously a little bit of a size difference between these three, and once you hit 200, then I just feel like it's really, really taken seriously, right? Jaden Sheridan is obviously also pretty young right there, coming on Monmouth as well, so not a powerhouse of football necessarily, if I can say that, right? But obviously, experience within his own right as well. Chimo Corfor for the tackle position. Got a couple of new guys here. Ryan Nelson coming out of Virginia, 6'6", not too shabby. 325 pounds. That's a big dog right there. This is, I can speculate all day long about the offensive line, right? What I'm going to do is say that I would like to see a mobile quarterback early, so that if our offensive line has problems and needs a couple weeks to address it and fix it, train it out, right, then it's not going to affect as poorly our situations the first couple of games, because we're going to have a Bryce Perkins or maybe a Rocky Lombardi out there who's able to be mobile, who's able to get the ball out when they need to, deep balls, everything else, to your John Hightowers, your Marcus Sims, your Sosi Manners and stuff like this, but also be able to take off when you need to. Again, it's just, I feel like a broken record here, guys. Like, again, the time of the mobile quarterback is here. That's what I'm saying. Biggest looks right here is Keith Russell and Brian Dooley at the directional colleges. Want to see them and what they're able to do. Very excited for Ryan Nelson. Here's what I'm talking about: Jalen Windemeyer, the newer addition. Cole Hukatini was obviously the GOAT from last year. Gunnar Oaks, I believe was an addition this year this year. I thought he played for somebody else last year. Obviously didn't get a whole lot done with only 35 yards received. Cole Hikutini got a couple of tutties, didn't he? Slow. 12 receptions, 204 yards. That's pretty damn good. Only 1 receiving touchdown though. Nice. And obviously didn't participate in anything right there. He's a little bit old. I mean, Louisville is no slouch when it comes to football, right? I feel like there's more of a situation where he's got a lot to teach, right? 30 years old, feel like you're probably 35 is probably a reasonable time that most tight ends will be expected to retire and stuff like that, right? I'm trying to think about older tight ends than that. How old was Palomalo. I can't remember. Don't well. We have a lot. We have a lot right here when it comes to our wide receiver core, obviously, but like by position, far and away, yeah, more than the cornerback position, more by one the defensive end position. Same amount of safeties here, but I feel like this is a little bit. Obviously, there are left safeties generally than wide receivers on the field at any given time, and I feel like our. Well, we'll get there when we get there, right? Gavin Holmes coming on in from Baylor. Hey Ace, hey Ace. John Hightower, Devin Ross, Samson Nakua, of course, Xavier Malone, Malik Turner, Jalen Moore, Sayosi Mariner, and Marcus Sims. All of these guys have different skill sets, right? Samson Nakua, much taller taller than anybody else on this list, actually. Yeah, wow, taller than anybody else on this list. Able to catch those deep balls. John Hightower is also a speedster here. Devin Ross mostly played the middle of the field. Marcus Sims was kind of just like all around everywhere. Sayosi Manor also. I mean, this guy might have caught 27 receptions. Excuse me. I guess that's over 10 games or 11 games, right? Over 11 games because I'm pretty sure that this did count. This did count postseason as well. I thought Sayosi Manor caught less balls for more yardage, if that makes sense, right? Like a higher average per catch and stuff like this. And whenever I say this, and I want to make it clear, I'm not crapping on anybody on this list, but I think it's fair to say I'm most excited for Marcus Sims, our number one receiver from last year. Three touchdowns and 10 games, pretty good. Really, really excited to see how this shakes out, though. Talking about age, actually, I did not know that Devin Ross was pushing 30 here. Yeah, I mean, this is probably what, like, median age. Obviously, we don't know for Gavin Holmes and for Xavier Malone. That is pretty short, though. I did not know Devin Ross was only 5'9" as well. I mean, dude, if you create space, it doesn't matter how tall you are, right? Going through right here, Donis Alexander. Love this guy. He was featured on the podcast after taking a fantastic interception, one of his multiple interceptions last year. Think that's going to be a shoe-in right here. DJ Miller, that's going to be, I believe, a newer face here. Levante Taylor as well, numero uno for a reason. Again, not crapping on anybody here who's newer or anything else like that, but there's just going to be a little bit of an easier selection when it comes to cornerbacks and safety positions. Taking a look, Mike Tafua here for defensive end. Would be surprised if he's not involved. Ondale Carter. I mean, these are big guys. Yeah, I mean, these are all real big guys. Kenny Wilkes talked about him a little bit before as well. Taking a look at the defensive tackle position, the big man, Walter Palmore, returning to the Michigan Panthers at 317 pounds, making him the biggest man on the team by 30 pounds or something like that. And the only person who's 300 pounds, big guy. Really looking forward to him being back, as well as Levi Bell. Garrett Marino, looking forward to that as well. UAB, and did some cool things there as well. Let's see, Frank Ginda, the defensive, right? Let's check out a little stats action, right? 36 tackles, no interceptions, no sacks. That doesn't seem accurate. Noah Dawkins as well was on the frequently on the other side from Frank Ginda. Really looking forward to that. But without seeing a lot of these guys play and not necessarily being, you know what I'm saying, a East Los Angeles college fan, I can't tell you too much about how they played in college. Taking a look at the safeties, I think it's fair to say that Kinda Cool will be one of them. Who will be the other one that's like frequently starting here? Corian Ballard played with us last year. 30 tackles right there. Pretty solid. Let's see, any newcomers? Raylan Goforth, I believe. Wait, no, that name rings a bell. Bryce Tornaden is not new by any means. Another name I'm really excited for. BT Potter once again. Clemson. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do here. Jordan Ober returning from last year. Simon Larea, I don't think played for us last year. Obviously, this is a punter, so it's going to be hard to get like data and stuff like that. But, yep, it is what it is. But that's the squad as of right now. We will continue to update you guys as we come into get further into training camp. There's a bunch of really cool stuff. I would recommend checking out the Michigan Panthers Instagrams and stuff like this, and kind of get an idea. And I mean, they're posting all kinds of stuff like that. Let's see, transitioning here. Quarterback strike. Yeah, so if in case you did not know, so I think 24 quarterbacks within the UFL signed something saying, hey, basically we are showing our discontent with the pay structure and stuff like that for us, for quarterbacks, for leaders of the team, for so-called skill positions. I've already expounded upon my opinion there. For what we're getting paid, basically. And we're sitting out not the entirety of training camp by any means, but we're sitting out, I believe it was the first day or maybe just the first 3 days, the first segment or whatever, of training camp in protest. Now, two things. First, in general, I'm always going to be about whatever individuals protesting peacefully, of course, peacefully most of the time, in like the pursuit of them getting what they feel is their just deserves, right? Part 1A here, specifically when it comes to strikes and stuff like that, personally, and this is just how I feel. I don't really give a crap what you think. I will generally be siding on the side of the strikers, right, against some big mega corporation on the other side. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I talked about it plenty on the Tugboat Time podcast. It's just me rambling. But point 2 here, the UFL is not some mega corporation. Disney does not own it. The ESPN does not. I mean, yes, ESPN, and Fox one side, Redbird other side, stuff like this. But like, this is not some mega corporation just bleeding money all the way out. And I gotta say, I'm not actually going to name them because I'm not sure if they want like our Discord comms or whatever, leaked on into over to public content or whatever else like that. But somebody within the UFM said like, guys, like you have like 117 players in the freaking stands. How about you wait until you like get like a little bit more than like, quadruple digit ticket sales, right? 4-digit ticket sales in terms of revenue, right? Before you go expecting like some crazy extra, right? So all the base pay here for UFL players is $55,000 a year, and they do get various performance bonuses like based on their team and how far they go if they make the playoffs and other things like this, right? So it's not just $55,000 flat. Obviously, they also get health insurance and they get housing stipends, although I will say the housing stipends are not very large. And I believe, and they do get paid for training camp, of course, and I believe they get money when they travel to like eat and other stuff like this, right? Obviously, all the teams hub Arlington, travel various cities to play, right? And I guess just specifically talking about the quarterback strike, my issue is twofold. First, it'll always rub me a little bit wrong when there's like the so-called like leadership positions, stuff like that, and they're not striking saying like, oh, all of our pay might be a little bit low. It's nope, it's just us. And that's a mild thing here. More so, my second mild issue with the whole striking thing is, again, like, I feel like there's a little bit of this social contract almost. Like, yes, I get it. These are men working. They deserve to be paid. Not arguing with that whatsoever, right? But there is a little bit, I believe, of a social contract here. It's kind of like, we all want this thing to succeed. And if we all go forth and do our best and put on great competitions, that it's close and well officiated and in good locations, good stadiums, other stuff like this, then eventually, like, if you build it, they will come, right? And we're in the if you're building it like stage right now, right? And so I just feel like I feel like if this was a full-on strike, right? It's like, hey, we're not going to do this until we get paid. I'd be super, super against it, right? Obviously, I want my bread and circus and stuff like this, but like, that's the phrase that I've been trying to like look for this entire time. Is you're trying to draw blood from a stone. There's just not a whole lot there because they cannot be making that much money in ticket sales. Like, I love the UFL. I wish more people would go, but it would be ludicrous to be like, oh yeah, the stands are just full, because they're not, right? Simple as that. Those are my takes on those. I hope that they go forth and get what I hope that there is a compromise in place where all sides leave feeling like they have gotten at least a little something of what they deserve. So that's my take on that. Let's get on into the last little bit and just talk a little bit about futures. We're winding up here. So the 4 bets I put out here, right, and we'll talk way more about this as the season gets a little bit closer, but the obvious bet, trap bet, homers, and the sleeper picks. So obviously, the back-to-back right here, the Birmingham Stallions plus 200. Those are obviously very, very low odds, and I don't really like locking up funds that long for a future at such short odds. But it'd be hard to pick against them. Let me just say it like that. And that will not be plus 200 anywhere near there for these other teams if they do make it back, right? Like if you wait until the last game of the UFL Championship in July or whatever else like that, that will not be anywhere near there unless half the Birmingham Stallions roster just doesn't make training camp and breaks femurs or something like that. I don't know. Trap picks right here. The St. Louis Battlehawks and the TC Defenders. I have no idea why this is here. This is none of this really makes it. Neither of these really make any sense. The Battlehawks get one extra home game, like for their home season. They are hosting the UFL Championship, so if they get there, but they have 10 weeks in a playoff game to get there, I'm not really 100% sure. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't see, aside from Abram Smith, right, which everybody put all their eggs in the Abram Smith basket last year. He got injured and I don't believe played 9 games, right? Or didn't play the last 9 games. He may have started in the very first game. I don't think he did. Now that I think about it, I think Abram Smith actually got injured in practice or something like that and wasn't able to play. So, like, do I see DC doing like making completely like 180-degree change based on the role of one single player as talented as he is? Not saying like that. As talented as Abram Smith is, do I see that? No, I don't. No, I don't. I have no idea why this is plus 600. The homer pick here for the Michigan Panthers. Like, if you had an exact like recreation of the playoffs last year, first, I don't think you would because I don't see the Arlington Renegades having that bad of luck this year, and so I feel like the XFL conference playoffs will not be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be St. Louis and the Brahmas just by default by like week 6 or week 7 or something like that, right? So, yeah, I guess I just talk about all these really. That's about where I would put it at. That is not where I would put it at. That I'd put that at longer odds. I would bet against that. I would also bet against this on DC plus 600. Brahmas, I feel like should probably be closer to like plus 500, especially with them returning a lot of people. Jontre Kirkland is back. They have Smith, the offensive coordinator, the guy who's doing all kinds of crazy, awesome new tech-based stuff with AI and virtual reality and stuff like that. Love that guy. Obviously, son of bum over there, head coaching, a lot of experience. I feel like that should be the second shortest odds right here. Not just to recreate what we saw last year, and obviously we all know what happened last year. San Antonio Brahmas failed to score a single point against the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL Championship. Now, I called them losing. I called Birmingham covering the spread. It was like minus 6.5 or something like that. I did not call a 25-0 shellacking of the San Antonio Brahmas. Home pick, obviously, would be about the Michigan Panthers here. The biggest problem to this is not necessarily this team, or this team. Yeah, it's not these other two teams. Excuse me. It's not Memphis. It's not Houston. It is Birmingham. Right. You have to play them twice the regular season, then play them again in the playoffs just to get to the championship game. That would be the biggest. Honestly, those odds should be like a little bit longer given what they would have to do to get there. Right. But these two right here, Arlington and Memphis, especially Memphis. Right. New head coach, plenty of new players. Like. Guys, watch the captain's log with Webb and with Brandon. Brandon originally hosting, right? They'll tell you just how much new is going on over there in Memphis and how exciting it is. This might actually be, but it's the same kind of problem. They have to get through the Stallions. Nah, I'm just switching that. I was going to say this might actually, Memphis at plus 1,500 might actually be the best bet on this table, but I'm actually thinking that Arlington at plus 1,100 would probably be the best value for everything on here. You can really see how they have like top heavy, right? Like, there's 2 top contenders, middle here, and then on the end. They just do not anticipate the Arlington Renegades, Memphis Showboats, or Houston Roughnecks of sniffing a playoff game, much less the championship game by any means. I can agree with that with Houston, especially given that Arlington will probably manhandle DC again. Their offense is always crazy, so that might give the San Antonio Brahmas a little bit of trouble. And St. Louis is perennially overrated, in my opinion, when it comes to power rankings and stuff like this. They're also losing A.J. McCarron, so there's that. Their one biggest draw they are losing. I think Tony Beck is a great coach overall. I think that sometimes when it comes up to really, really like evenly ranked competition, he has problems finding like that defining factor and that just like little edge that gets him over the top. If you're a St. Louis fan, if call is the law for you, then hope that extra home game will do something here, especially when you're playing against the San Antonio Brahmas or the Arlington Renegades, like really explosive, fiery offense. That is going to be about it. That's going to be about it. Oh, let me put on, no, hang on. Bam, there we go. Let me put this on. Bang! Bang, 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 bang. I should be in front of this, but it doesn't matter. Yes, this is the Panthers podcast here for weekly UFM content. Check out the Battle Talk show, which I believe the name might be different. The Brahmas Bullpen with Josh over there. DC Defenders with Webb and Alex. Webb is going to be doing this is an old graphic. Webb is going to be doing the captain's log. Alex is going to be making surprise awesome guest appearances on various shows this season. Defending Football, that's going to be the same. Hellraisers, believe that's going to be the same. Polar Opposites or Solar Opposites when I'm on it. I believe I will definitely be on there this season. We're definitely running it back. The Roughneck Rundown, Ace. Gotta do it, my friend. The Captain's Log, Sink or Swim. Again, Webb will be on that with Brandon Stallions Run. They're going to be right back with it. And TMAI, Tell Me About It. I will be on there as well, of course, as the Panthers Picks, or the Panthers podcast. So, well, the Panthers Picks podcast will be a little bit like gambling stuff. If you're not into gambling, I hope that wasn't too much gambling talk. Or if it is talking about something you're not familiar with, I hope that at least the futures talk was a little bit more simple and something that anybody could follow. I will continue to kind of divide up that content because I know a lot of people who love sports and don't like gambling are kind of like tired of the overwhelming amount of gambling stuff. So I'm trying to cater a little bit there. Anyway, I'm FBI Tugboat. You can find me literally everywhere at FBI_Tugboat, Twitter, Twitch, Blue Sky, Instagram, everything. Discord, of course, yes, if you're interested. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the flip side.